Bryce Canyon isn't a single canyon, but a series of natural amphitheaters carved into a high plateau. Its landscape of hoodoos, bizarre, beautiful spires of rock, creates an alien world that draws millions. But this beauty is deceptive. The same forces that create the hoodoos, ice, water, and gravity, also make the park a place of hidden, sudden danger. For most, a trip here is a memory of a lifetime. For others, it's the last memory they ever make. These are the stories of those who faced the worst of Bryce Canyon. Case 1. The Cat Who Survived. On the night of April 28, 2025, Matthew Nannon, 45, and Bailey Crane, 58, were living a nomadic life out of a U-Haul truck. They had recently traveled from Arizona to Utah, drawn by the stark beauty of the American West. For months, they'd been traveling across the Southwest, stopping at national parks and scenic overlooks, documenting their journey on social media. That evening, they found themselves at Inspiration Point in Bryce Canyon, a spot famous for its panoramic views and stunning sunset photography opportunities. They were there outside of normal park hours, likely seeking solitude for stargazing or dramatic photos away from the daytime crowds. But they weren't content with the view from the safety of the overlook. They climbed over a clearly marked safety railing, stepping out onto the fragile, unstable cliff edge. The rim soil at Bryce is notoriously treacherous, frost-heaved, crumbly, and prone to sudden collapse. Freeze-thaw cycles have weakened the rock, creating a landscape where solid-looking ground can give way without warning. At some point in the low-light hours of the early morning, the ground beneath them gave way. It was a fall of nearly 400 feet into the amphitheater below, a chaotic tumble of rock and loose debris. The impact was catastrophic. Both bodies struck the rocky floor with tremendous force, suffering massive blunt force trauma. The fall would have caused severe injuries, incompatible with life, broken bones, internal hemorrhaging, and head trauma. The next morning, tourists at the overlook spotted 2 bodies and a pet carrier far below and alerted park rangers. A helicopter was called in for a technical recovery operation, praised as careful given the terrain and the condition of the bodies. But amidst the tragedy, there was a small miracle. Inside the carrier, they found the couple's elderly tabby cat, Mirage, shaken but alive, matted and sore, but in surprisingly good condition. The cat had survived the fall that had killed its owners. Animal experts speculated that the carrier may have cushioned the impact, or that the cat had been protected by the way it fell. The cat's survival became a small story of hope in an otherwise tragic incident. The sheriff's office investigated, confirming the key fact. They had climbed over the safety railing. There was no foul play, no suggestion of criminal activity, just a fatal decision to ignore the warnings for a better view. The park kept the case open, saying, all possibilities are being considered, but the evidence was clear. Animal sanctuary staff took custody of Mirage, planning either to locate family or place her for adoption. It was a grim reminder that safety railings exist for a reason and that the desire for the perfect photo can sometimes cost everything. Case 2. The Monsoon's Fury. In late August of 2023, during the height of the summer monsoon season, Gene Howell, age unknown, was exploring the Fairyland Loop, an 8-mile trail in the northern, less crowded section of Bryce Canyon. The trail winds through dry washes and canyons, areas that are inherently prone to flash floods. Monsoon season in the Southwest is a dangerous time to be in canyon country. The monsoons bring intense localized thunderstorms that can dump several inches of rain in just minutes. On the afternoon of August 25th, a thunderstorm rolled through, dumping heavy rain on the area. The dry washes, which had been peaceful trails just moments before, were transformed into raging torrents. Water that had been trickling down from the rim suddenly became a torrent, channeled through the narrow canyon. Howell was caught in the floodwaters and swept into Campbell Canyon. The force of a flash flood is immense and violent, a wall of muddy water carrying logs, boulders, and debris. Victims are pummeled, pinned against rocks, rolled along canyon walls, and drowned. Flash flood victims often suffer extensive internal injuries, lacerations, and broken bones, even if the immediate cause is asphyxiation. The water can reach speeds of 30 miles per hour or more with the force of a moving wall of concrete. The next morning at 1:30 a.m., her body was found in Campbell Canyon, about a mile east of the loop. She was pronounced dead at the scene by a Garfield County medical examiner. The body showed signs of trauma consistent with flash flood drowning. The National Park Service used the incident as a stark reminder of the dangers of hiking in flash flood-prone areas during monsoon season. Park communications emphasized that a thunderstorm delivered heavy rain and that flash flooding was observed in dry washes along the loop. They issued warnings about checking weather forecasts before hiking and avoiding washes during monsoon season. It was a tragic accident, a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, a grim testament to the raw, untamable power of nature in the high desert. Standard advice is to get out of washes and seek high ground when thunderheads build, but the release doesn't confirm what warnings she saw or ignored. The park later reviewed its signage and warning systems to determine if more could have been done to prevent similar incidents. Case 3. A bolt from the blue. On August 18, 2011, Volker Kuntz, 51, from Hamm, Germany, was walking the popular Rim Trail with his wife and 2 sons. It was a short, scenic stroll between sunrise and sunset points, a casual family outing on what seemed like a normal day. The family had been visiting the park for several days, enjoying the unique landscape and taking photographs. The Rim Trail is one of the most accessible and popular walks in the park, paved in sections and offering stunning views. But the weather in Bryce Canyon can change in an instant. Afternoon thunderstorms are common in the summer, and they can develop rapidly. A thunderstorm rapidly developed, and the family turned back toward their vehicle to seek shelter. As they hurried along the trail, a lightning bolt struck near Sunset Point. Kuntz collapsed instantly. Other visitors and his family rushed to his side, but the electrical blast had already stopped his heart. Rangers and EMS responded quickly, but he was pronounced dead in the park. A direct lightning strike is a catastrophic event for the human body. The electrical discharge causes massive cardiac arrest, severe internal burns along the path of the current, and neurological damage. Lightning victims can suffer burns along sweat lines and exit wounds at the feet. The strike can cause immediate loss of consciousness, respiratory arrest, and cardiac arrhythmia. It's a sudden, violent death with little to no warning. The National Park Service issued a detailed news release labeling the event a tragic reminder that summer storms in the Southwest are often accompanied by potentially deadly lightning. They reiterated clear lightning safety rules: seek shelter in buildings or vehicles, not under trees or near high points, if thunder follows lightning within 30 seconds. Kuntz's death was a tragic accident, a reminder that even on the most popular, well-traveled trails, the forces of nature are always present and always unpredictable. His wife and 2 sons survived, underlining the human cost of the strike. The incident led to increased lightning safety signage at the park. Case 4. The high-altitude strike. Just a few years earlier, on August 12, 2004, another European tourist, a 58-year-old Dutch national, was hiking the Bristlecone Loop Trail near Jovimia Point at an elevation of around 9,000 feet. He was with his wife and another couple, enjoying the panoramic views in the ancient bristlecone pines. Bristlecone pines are among the oldest living organisms on Earth, some over 4,000 years old. The trail offers a unique experience, walking among these ancient trees and enjoying views across the high desert. The sky was overcast, but there was no visible lightning in sight. The group was enjoying the hike, taking photographs and enjoying the cool mountain air. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck without much warning, killing the man instantly. His companions were stunned but unharmed. The strike was so sudden that some witnesses reported not seeing lightning before the strike. At high altitudes, the human body can be the highest conductive point in the landscape, making it a target for lightning even when the storm seems distant or the sky merely overcast. The death was a tragic freak accident, another reminder of the unique dangers of high-elevation environments. The Park Service noted that a previous lightning strike on a visitor had occurred in 2002, underlining the recurring, albeit rare, threat. It's a sobering thought that even on a seemingly calm day, the sky can turn deadly in an instant. The suddenness of the strike, with no visible lightning beforehand, highlights how unpredictable mountain weather truly is. The incident prompted the park to review its lightning safety messaging and to increase warnings about the dangers of high-altitude hiking during monsoon season. Case 5. The Ranger's Last Call. Tom Lorig, 78, was a longtime interpretive ranger with the National Park Service, having served Bryce Canyon and other NPS sites for decades. He was known for his deep passion for connecting visitors with the night sky and park resources. In his late 70s, he was still working in public contact, roles due to his genuine love for the parks. He had trained countless volunteers and rangers in interpretation and visitor engagement. On the night of June 7, 2024, during the annual Astronomy Festival, Lorig was doing what he loved best, helping visitors navigate the park in the dark, directing them to shuttles and viewing areas. His role that night was crowd management and wayfinding to keep the event safe. The Astronomy Festival draws thousands of visitors to the park to experience the night sky. Around 11:30 p.m., while directing a visitor toward a shuttle, he tripped on the uneven terrain and fell, striking his head on a large rock. He was found unresponsive by the visitor he was helping. Nearby law enforcement rangers, medically trained bystanders, and local EMS personnel rushed to perform life-saving efforts, but they were unable to revive him. The cause of death was fatal head trauma, likely a severe skull fracture and brain injury. Falls at that age can be particularly devastating, with even a single blow causing catastrophic hemorrhaging. The impact of the fall was severe enough to cause immediate or reversible brain injury. It was a tragic, on-duty death for a man who had dedicated his life to the park. Park Superintendent Jim Ireland issued a public statement honoring Lorig's decades of service and expressing condolences. The park community grieved a beloved interpreter. There was no legal action reported, as this was considered an on-duty accident. His death was a somber reminder that even for the most experienced and passionate, a simple misstep in the dark can be fatal. The park later reviewed lighting and safety measures on trails used during evening programs. Case 6. The Day the Walls Moved. Bryce Canyon is a place of constant slow-motion erosion, but sometimes that erosion happens all at once. In May 2006, a massive rockfall occurred on the Wall Street section of the Navajo Loop, one of the park's most popular trails. Over 400 tons of rock, boulders as big as a mid-size car, crashed down onto the trail, burying a 60 by 15-foot area. The rockfall was a dramatic demonstration of the park's geological instability. Witnesses reported hearing the sound of the collapse, a thunderous roar that echoed through the canyon. The trail was closed for over a year as crews worked to build a new path around the hazard. During the closure, engineers assessed the stability of the remaining rock and reinforced areas where possible. Miraculously, no one was on that section of the trail when the rockfall happened, but it's a chilling reminder of the park's inherent instability. The same freeze-thaw cycles that create the beautiful hoodoos also loosen the rock, creating a constant, unpredictable threat. Bryce's geology produces extreme freeze-thaw cycles, around 200 days per year, that loosen rock and increase rockfall risk, especially along Wall Street. Water seeps into cracks in the rock, freezes, expands, and breaks the rock apart. This process repeats thousands of times, eventually causing large sections of rock to fail. The Park Service warns visitors to be aware of their surroundings, especially on trails that pass beneath steep cliffs. It's a danger that's easy to forget when you're surrounded by such stunning beauty. But the rocks are always watching, always waiting. A death from rockfall is a death by the park itself, a sudden, crushing end delivered without warning. The incident is used in safety messaging to emphasize weather awareness on high-elevation trails. The park later installed additional rockfall warning signs and closed certain sections of trails during winter months when freeze-thaw cycles are most active. The stories from Bryce Canyon are a powerful lesson. They show us that beauty and danger often walk hand in hand. Whether it's a sudden storm, an unstable cliff, or a simple misstep in the dark, the consequences can be absolute. These aren't just tales of tragedy, they are reminders. To respect the wildness of these places, to heed the warnings, and to remember that in the heart of nature's most stunning creations, we are all ultimately just fragile visitors passing through.